So today what I want to talk about with you guys is something pretty basic that nobody seems to really talk about that much, and it surprises me because it seems to be a hot issue kind of in the pagan community. It's actually the use of the word pagan. Now, you have some people who openly and proudly identify as pagan, and then the rest of the community, they reject the word and say they would rather be called by their specific path, like Hellenist, Odinist, Asatruer, instead of identifying with the word pagan. Now, here's my appeal. This is my opinion. I think we should use the word pagan. And here's why. Back during the Roman conquest of pagan Europe, the word paganus, Paganus, was a Latin word used to basically refer to or describe these polytheistic nature freaks. It basically means country dweller, or basically like forest dweller or simpleton, something like that. But nowadays, we have similar derogatory terms. It was a derogatory term that the Romans used to describe the Celts and the Druids and the Germans and everybody that they conquered. Today we have similar kind of insulting terms. Today's modern equivalent of the word pagan or country dweller, redneck, hick, country bumpkin, simpleton, things like that we use pretty openly. Now, let's take the term redneck. You have songs like Redneck Woman, Proud Redneck, with the Confederate flag or something like that. I lived in Maine for about 2 years. I'm pretty familiar with this identity, this lifestyle. There's a certain pride to it because it is an identity. It is a regional identity, a cultural identity, or in our case, pagan. It's a spiritual, religious identity. Though the word pagan did begin and was for the longest time a derogatory term, and in some cases, if you look at the dictionary's definition, basically pagan, according to the dictionary, the all-knowing dictionary, means anybody who practices a religion that is not Abrahamic, or basically Jewish, Muslim, or Christian. I don't like that identification. Hindus, Buddhists, they're not pagan. So that is a very inaccurate term. We should use the word pagan because though it was derogatory, towards our ancestors, basically, we've reclaimed that word. Country dweller, redneck, no longer is a negative thing to be. We should reclaim it, okay? If you don't want to be considered a pagan, I don't really care, but I'm trying to make a logical appeal for why we should use it as a community. I'm proud to be pagan. Even if some people think that being basically hippie, crunchy granola, peace, love, and environmentalism, and going green, and believing in nature spirits, if that's negative, I still don't want to be anything else. That's who I am. I have plenty of people who already think I'm insane, but at least I have the confidence in myself to say, yes, I worship nature gods. Do you have a problem? Walk on. I'm not insecure about who I am. I'm a pagan and I'm proud, and I feel like we all should be proud of who we are because we've taken a lot of shit from all angles, from the Christians, from people who just don't understand, people too willing to believe the Hollywood stereotypes. We're still standing, and we're getting better, and we're getting more support as the years go on, so we should stay pagan and proud. Now, the other part of this, should non-European beliefs be considered pagan as well? Like I already mentioned, Buddhism and Hinduism, very much not pagan. Okay, Hinduism is technically not really even polytheistic. All the different gods like Kali and Ganesha, they're all different parts of the same god. It's not really polytheism. Granted, paganism, a pagan religion, doesn't have to be polytheistic, but still, Hinduism is Hinduism. It is not pagan. Pagans can use aspects of Hinduism, of course. Pagans can use aspects of Buddhism, which is technically a philosophy. Buddha was not a god. Also, not pagan, not really even a religion. So should non-European nature-based spiritualities be considered pagan? I say no. I really don't care, but if we want to differentiate, if we want to make a definitive, if we want to define it, I don't think African diaspora, other African tribal religions, Aboriginal religions, Amazonian like tribes of South America, Native American tribes, I honestly don't think though they do fall under that idea of paganism, possibly polytheistic nature spirits, nature-based, earth-based stewardship, things like that, following the seasons and the natural rhythms, though that all qualifies as what paganism is, there is a difference to me. When I see Native American, I see a distinctive culture, a distinctive set of beliefs. Or Native American, it's an umbrella term because there's so many different tribes, so many different nations under that Native American umbrella. Even in the Northeast, we have we have the Mashpee Wampanoags, in tribes like that, very much different from the Sioux or from the Anasazi. So though they're all Native American, it's Native American, which is the umbrella term for Sioux, Mashpee Wampanoag, Cherokee, Choctaw, things like that. Native American. African diaspora. I'm not sure if that constitutes the entirety of the African beliefs, but you have the African beliefs, Aboriginal beliefs of Australia. But when you look at Europe, you have the Celts and the Druids, the Germans, Scandinavians. You have the Celtic beliefs, which reached all the way to Turkey. But I'm betting that the Turkish Celtic tribes were a bit different than the Irish Celtic tribes. So you have a distinctive identity there, which is very much different from Native Americans, very much different from the African tribes. So Europe is very much what we call pagan. Not to say that we're not related to the Native Americans, because we share a lot of the same ideas, beliefs. I love Native American tribal culture. I have feathers, dream catchers. I love that identity. But I do not practice Native American traditions. So the reason I also think that we should refer to European beliefs as pagan and no other beliefs as pagan, obviously for the exception of Wicca, because it did stem from Celtic beliefs, is because the term pagan was used to describe or to refer to the European pagans. Again, this is just one person's opinion. I have spoken to others who have the same beliefs or who do not have the same beliefs, which is why I've kind of come to this conclusion. I've heard all different sides, so this is just me. So the conclusion I've come to is that I think the term pagan should refer to just European indigenous beliefs, spirituality. If you want to refer to African or Aboriginal or Native American practices as pagan, or that's up to you. This is just my argument. Take it or leave it. Food for thought.